Good morning. Just getting myself organised. Been a bit of a rush this morning. For some reason, I got up early enough, but sometimes just seems to take longer to do things. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jenny, and Chris, and Lynn. Good to see you, and Sarah over on YouTube. And Rose. Good morning. Good to see you all. Good to be back. Good to be able to do this again. Good morning, Philippa. Let's wait a couple more minutes. I'm going to try some. I'm going to try some chanting this morning at the end of the meditation. Not me. I won't put you through that. I've got a recording. I don't know how it'll work. I don't know what the sound will be like on streaming like this, but I hope it'll be okay. I'll talk about that in a minute. Oh, hello, Susan and Dimple. Good to see you both. Hi, Helen. Let's wait a little bit longer. Okay, so it's 7 o'clock. Yes, we're going to do the metta bhavana this morning, loving kindness meditation, where we wish 4 people well, where we bring 4 people to mind: ourselves, a good friend, a stranger, and somebody that we have a bit of difficulty with, that we don't really get on with so well. And really, on the surface, this is about wishing them well, putting out loving kindness into the lives of the people we're thinking about, including ourselves. But in another way, and that's very true, I believe in that. I believe if we put goodness and love out into the world, then it has an effect, even if it's just in our mind. We are all connected together. We're all interconnected. And if we have an attitude of positive love for the world, then it has an effect. It adds to the mix. It tips the scales in the favor of love. But in a way, this meditation is a self-care meditation as well. It's about us, because we live in our minds, don't we? We live in our minds. We live in our own being most of the time. And if these minds or being is negative and full of, not full of love, even neutral, if our minds are not full of love, if our minds are even neutral, then that affects us. And that, in fact, it's the other way, isn't it? Our minds are quite negative at times. Our thinking is quite negative about other people. So if we can turn that negative thinking into something more positive, then we benefit enormously. We become happier, we become more and more positive, and we are kinder to other people, but we're also, in a sense, much happier within ourselves. So this meditation is also about looking at our attitudes, at our views and opinions, and entrenched habits about seeing other people, and trying to change the negative for the positive, particularly with ourselves, but also with the good friend and the stranger and the person we have difficulty with. So I won't say any more. Just celebrate that this is a self-care meditation just as much as the one we're taking a break from, that we used to do on a Wednesday. So I've got something to read, and then we'll go into the meditation. Then at the end of the meditation, I'm going to try with a recorded mantra, which is a mantra that goes Sabe, Sate, Sabe, Sata, Sukhi, Hontu. And it means may all beings be well, may all beings be happy. And it's beautiful. And it's chanted by the team at our Taraloka Meditation Centre. So I don't know what the quality will be like, but we'll have a go anyway. So good morning to Michelle and Tracy and Rachel and everybody else who's joined us in the last few minutes. So let me read this. This is from Ayya Khema, a Buddhist teacher called Ayya Khema, a very well respected Buddhist teacher. She's dead now, but she's written lots of very helpful books on Buddhism. And it's called Self-Metta, our own best friend. Self-love. The real shift comes when we realize that our thoughts are what make us happy or unhappy, that they are the masters of our inner life. Then when we realize this, we will make sure that we are our own best friend, even our own noble friend, whatever our external circumstances might be. As a noble friend to ourselves, we will support all that is positive in us, while dissuading ourselves from the negative. And we will foster an interest in anything that can help us to make progress. Again and again, we will patiently acknowledge our difficulties, and instead of blaming ourselves, we will try to change something. So that's what we're doing with this meditation. We're noticing our attitudes and views and opinions of ourselves and other people, and emphasizing the positive, and trying to, in some way, cultivate a little love for ourselves and other people. Okay, so we'll begin. Good morning to Isabel and Sarah, who've just joined us. Good to see you all. So just settling down now. Just allowing the breathing to become natural. Maybe taking a few deep breaths to help that. And just resolving for the next 30 minutes to be as positive as we can. Just setting an aim. And just noticing how we are in the body, in the body and in the mind and in the emotions. What's our overall being like this morning? And if you find negatives, then just acknowledging them. If you find a little grumpiness, just acknowledging it with kindness. Just always bringing kindness to any negativity. Just noticing the weight of our bodies on the chair or floor or bed, and just giving up that weight to whatever we're sitting or lying on. And noticing the sensations in the body, in the feet and the legs, in the hips and the bum, in the back of the body, and in the front of the body. And in the head, and in the face. So allowing the face and the forehead to relax, just letting the skin sag. Letting the shoulders drop. And bringing our attention to each out-breath. Each out-breath, you might notice the shoulders drop slightly. So as we breathe out each time, just allowing the shoulders to relax. As we breathe out each time, just imagining any tension dropping away down through the body, into the floor, into the earth. And noticing each in-breath, how it makes the shoulders rise, the whole body rise, bringing life and energy and positivity into our being. You might even imagine that the in-breath, we're breathing in the love of the universe, the positivity that is all around us. Breathing it in, filling our hearts. Filling the whole of our being. So this is the loving kindness meditation, the metta bhavana. And we begin by taking stock of ourselves. Complex human beings living in a complex world. Facing all sorts of challenges, difficulties, situations, and doing our very best, whatever we do. There's never a time when we're not doing our very best. So can we be our own best friend, standing by ourselves when times are hard, supporting ourselves, loving ourselves even when there's part of us that is feeling negative. Can we find this part of ourselves to support us? And can we take care of ourselves? Can we let go of the negative ideas and thoughts and cultivate positive love for ourselves? Can we love those things that we can't change and change those things that we can? And do all of this with a deep sense of loving kindness. So just for the next few moments, taking the time to maybe stand aside from ourselves and gaze upon ourselves with love, with a sense that this tender human being is doing the best in a very difficult world. And wishing ourselves well. So now bring into mind a good friend, somebody that we care about. bringing them to mind as an image if we can, or just a sense of them being with us, sitting next to us maybe. Maybe just bringing to mind a time when they were very kind to us, or we were having a lot of fun together, when we were very happy together with this good friend. Opening our hearts to them. So this good friend is very much like ourselves. They have the same doubts in their minds. They have the same feelings about themselves in many ways. They suffer like us. They enjoy and delight in joy and happiness like us. And we know that because we know them well. Like us, they too find life difficult at times. Like us, they can be self-critical. So can we support them with our love? Can we open our hearts to them and wish our good friend well? Just keeping a sense of our good friend in our hearts and wishing them well. So letting our good friend go for the moment and bringing into our meditation a relative stranger, somebody that we don't know very well but we see from time to time, somebody that we neither like nor dislike. It could be a neighbour, somebody we see when we're out walking, shop assistant, anything like that. And just bringing them into the meditation and seeing what happens. How do we feel about them? How do we really feel about them? And the chances are that we don't feel very much. We don't feel about them in the same way we might feel about our best friend. And that's okay. That's how human beings are. This person doesn't affect our lives, so we may not have a connection with them at all, or a very small one So just being okay with that. And then maybe just reflecting that this person is so much like us in many ways. They may be different physically, and they may be different by temperament, but in many ways they are very much the same as us. They too have moments of grief and disappointment. They too endure pain. They too encounter great joy and happiness at times. They have emotions and feelings very much like ourselves. They're tender, fragile human beings just like us, getting older, and one day they're going to die. This stranger, the stranger who we don't know. So can we open our hearts to them, and even though we don't know them well, have a sense of well-wishing towards them. Open our hearts and have a sense of loving kindness towards this other human being. So letting the stranger go for the moment, and bringing into our meditation, in our imagination, someone that we don't get on with very well, that we find uncomfortable, that we don't particularly like being around. Not somebody we've fallen out with badly, but somebody that we just find uncomfortable, difficult. So we begin by noticing our feelings. We might feel a sense of aversion, resistance. We might get a sinking feeling in our belly. We might not particularly want to bring this person to mind. So just acknowledging those feelings, they're okay. They're just how things are. We don't need to beat ourselves up over them. Just to acknowledge them, and recognize them for what they are. And be kind to ourselves. So we're not trying to change the way we feel about this person directly. We feel about them the way we feel about them. That's the truth. But we can still wish them well in spite of that, can't we? We can still see them as a tender, fragile human being that, like us, endures pain and hardship and discomfort, and like us, can be happy and joyful. They too need love like we do. They too have difficulties in their life. So in spite of the way we feel about them, can we open our hearts to them? Can we wish them well? And finally, bringing all four people together, ourselves, the good friend, the stranger, and the person we have some difficulty with. Coming all together, maybe holding hands or sitting together. And can we wish all four well in equal measure? Can we open our hearts to all four, especially ourselves and the difficult person? Can we have a sense of loving kindness to all four? And then radiating that loving kindness outwards to everybody who's meditating with us this morning on Facebook and YouTube. All these beautiful, fragile human beings who've come together this morning to practice loving kindness. And then radiating this sense of love and kindness even further to all beings in this country, going about their business this morning, rising, showering, setting off for work, or maybe they're at work, maybe they're coming home from work. All the tender human beings that live in this country. And then radiating this loving kindness out to the whole world, to all human beings, to all animals and birds, water creatures, insects, to all living beings, every one of them doing their best to live their lives. Opening our hearts to all living beings, wherever they are, whatever they are. Well, I hope that was helpful. I hope the mantra came across well. It was Sabe Sata Sukhi Hontu, which is old Indian language. I think Pali, I'm not sure, Pali or Sanskrit anyway, and it means may all beings be well. And it's a bit unusual for a mantra to actually have words that mean something. They usually are quite magical and don't mean anything in particular. But that one is wishing all beings well. So I hope that came across okay. And thank you for joining me this morning. I've just got a funny message on the screen that's putting me off. Yes, lovely to meet you this morning, and great to do this meditation with you. And if you can, just open your hearts through the day. If you get into difficulties with somebody, instead of just reacting, maybe just pause and see the humanity in them. See the tender humanity in other people and their fragility, and wish them well. It's a lovely practice to do. We can do it all through the day. So thank you very much, and I'll see you again tomorrow if you're around. And tomorrow we'll be doing the giving and receiving meditation, where we receive and give love. Beautiful meditation based on a Tibetan practice. Okay, lovely to spend time with you, and have a good day, and take care of yourselves, and lots of love to you.